Today, let's talk about a topic that honestly a lot of Singaporeans struggle with mentally, and that is it worth it to rent just to wait for a new launch condo? Hello, my name is Yi and welcome to my channel. Okay, so whenever people hear the word rental, immediately the comments come already. Why rent? You're helping people to pay their mortgage. Singaporeans 哪里有人 rent one? Renting is like throwing money away. Especially in Asia culture, owning a property is like the correct route in life. Study hard, get a stable job, buy house, settle down. And because Singapore has one of the highest home ownership rate in the world at about 90.8% of resident households are owner-occupied. So renting naturally feels uncommon here. To be fair, I can understand why some people feel that renting is a waste of money. Because when you buy a property, at least every month your installment that you're paying feels like it's going into your own asset. There's this psychological comfort that even though you're paying for mortgage, the house is yours. But with rental, every month the money leaves your account and you don't own anything after. So emotionally, it feels painful. From time to time, you'll see the news talk about the property market movement. One moment, the headline will say higher occupancy caps extended because rental demand is strong. Then another article will say the rental market may face disruptions. And few days later, another article on private property prices up again. Then suddenly, all the new launches sold at 80-90% on launch weekend. As a consumer reading all this, I understand it is very confusing. One moment say market weak, next moment say prices up. Then another moment everyone rush to buy. It's like everyone is having a mood swing like that. So today as consumer, what should we actually be doing? Should you be buying a resale or a new launch? Or continue staying or rent out while waiting? And honestly, this is always a dilemma between whether to buy a resale and stay immediately or rent out while waiting for a new launch. Because many people mentally still cannot accept paying rent. We take a rough gauge of 3,500 for rental, which in today's market, if you take a look at Property Guru, you can still get a 2-beders in a condo and still a pretty decent range for HDB. When you calculate 3,500 times 4 years, that is almost 168,000. Sounds pretty painful, yeah? But today, I want to break this down in a practical way. Before we continue, do kindly help me give a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel because it will really help a lot in growing this channel. Thank you! First thing first, people need to understand that one option does not automatically be better than the other one. Because even owning your own property will also incur costs. Let's take a 2 mil private condo for example. Assuming 75% loan would means loan amount to be 1.5 mil at interest rate about 1.6% of a 30 years tenure, your monthly mortgage payment works out roughly about 5,200 to 5,300 per month. And out of this amount, interest rate alone is already 2,000 monthly at the start. Then if you add condo maintenance at about 230, property tax at about 197, your monthly ownership cost will be 2,427 just on this cost alone. And this is without renovation, without repairs, without furnishing, without opportunity cost. Even if you pay full cash for the property, which does not incur the bank loan interest rate, the cash could have been invested elsewhere, right? So technically speaking, every housing choice has a cost attached to it. The difference is only which cost are you willing to accept. Now personally, I think the biggest downside of renting is not the rent itself. The real downside is you're not hedging yourself against the Singapore property market. And this is so important because people always say prices too high already, wait first, recession coming, market gonna crash. But honestly, wait till when? Crash where? There has always been something. 2016 Brexit, 2017 North Korea tension, 2018 US-China trade war, and then COVID, war, inflation, negative GPT concerns. Every single year there has been something. But despite all this, has Singapore property prices really crashed badly long term? Not really leh. In fact, Singapore private residential property prices have continued trending upwards over the years. URA Residential Property Index has climbed significantly from 2016 to 2026 to close to 50%. Even recently, I did a comparison. In 2021, 1 mil could still get you some pretty decent sized unit, and 5-bedder option was even still possible within that budget. Today, in 2026, just 5 years apart, 1 mil could barely get you a 2-beders already. So at the end of the day, property purchase is actually very similar to your attitude towards life. If you keep waiting for the perfect timing, perfect pricing, perfect market, honestly, it will never happen. There will always be uncertainty, and for things to happen, you need to intentionally plan and take action towards it, not just hope for it to happen magically. So if your situation genuinely requires you to rent, I actually think that renting is okay, especially if it's part of a calculated plan. Now, let's talk about real situations faced by people. HDB upgraders, especially families with kids. Because after staying in HDB for years, you already became so comfortable with the space. Then suddenly when you look at condo layouts, wow, paying more money but smaller space. Psychologically hard to accept. So now imagine this, you MOP already, you want to upgrade, so you're deciding between a resale or a new launch condo. If you were to go with a resale, you can move in immediately. But if you were to go with a new launch, you may need to wait 3.5 to 4 years. And that means you will need to find an interim housing. And not everybody can and want to stay with their parents or in-laws for 4 years. Because maybe you're a newlywed, got kids, or work location is not convenient, or maybe you just need your privacy. So naturally, some people end up renting, and this is where mentally people struggle. Because it sounds illogical. Why am I paying to wait? But from an investment and upgrading perspective, sometimes people are looking at how I can better position myself for long-term plan. And that's why they compare resale and new launch. Now, one of the key difference between the resale and the new launch is the payment structure. So for resale, your full mortgage starts almost immediately after completion, and that usually is within 3 months. Whereas for new launch, payment is progressive. So meaning you pay part by part according to construction stages, and typically 25% for down payment and remaining 75% paid progressively through bank loan stages as your construction progresses. And your interest rate payment starts smaller, and you're not servicing the full loan immediately. And this is why many buyers find that new launch, the cash flow is more manageable upfront. Now, let's compare very roughly. So for a 2 mil resale condo, monthly you're looking at about 5,300 mortgage, 230 maintenance, 197 property tax, and that total up to about 5,700 monthly. While if you look at a new launch, during the progressive stages, you're looking at about 2,000 range progressively for the interest. And then if you were to increase your budget for the rental to about 5,000 because your resale mortgage is around that range, and then your maintenance will be 0 initially, and then your property tax will also be 0 before the TOP. So that total up to about 7,500 thereabout during the waiting phase. So yes, on paper, new launch route costs more monthly during the interim, because if you take 7,000 minus 5,700, that's extra 1,300 every month for your new launch, and that's 62,400 more for 4 years. But the key thing that people are looking at is the future capital appreciation. Let's use a real example, Stirring Residence TOP in 2022. So many buyers actually entered around 1,008, 1,009 PSF, and today transactions are around 2,003 PSF range. So on average, owners have reportedly made profits around 277, and highest profit even exceeded 450. So based on the earlier calculation, even if you spend an additional 62,400 during the waiting period for the new launch, when you compare it against the estimated 277 capital appreciation, you are looking at a significant upside of 214,600 just from holding the property through the 4 years. And if you happen to enter a property with a shorter TOP timeline, your rental duration becomes shorter as well, which also means potentially improving your overall profit margin even further. Now, disclaimer, not all new launches guarantee profit. There are definitely projects where people have bought wrongly before, and I also want to be fair because social media nowadays, people only talk about gains. But in every investment comes with a potential risk, and not every project explodes in profit. Some projects move slower, some barely move, some underperform nearby resale. So if your expectations is confirm make money, it's a very dangerous mindset. What you really need to be equipped with is the ability to identify and understand how to select the key questions and right factors to look out for in a project, because that ultimately makes a huge difference. But this example explains why some buyers are willing to lose rental temporarily. Because if your rental across 4 years may cost around 168,000, but your property appreciation potentially exceed that amount, then mentally, rental no longer feel like it's a pure loss already. It becomes the cost of positioning yourself into a stronger asset. So final thought, is renting worth it? And my answer is yes, if you have a calculated plan behind it. Because sometimes in life, delayed gratification is necessary. You sacrifice short-term comfort for the potential of stronger long-term positioning. And honestly, property upgrading is usually not an overnight thing. It's a long-term journey, and some people chose certainty and immediate stay. There's nothing wrong with it. While some people are willing to tolerate the interim rental because they are positioning for future upside. And there's nothing wrong with that as well. Ultimately, it boils down to what are your objectives and long-term plans. If renting helps to position yourself in the long run, maybe that loss isn't a loss after all. Property decisions are never one size fits all. Same logic as to why some people like driving sports car while some people prefer SUV. Both can bring you from point A to point B, but what you value is different. If you'd like to learn more about how to identify new launch projects, or whether new launch or resale suits your situation, or even how to structure your upgrade properly, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to share more over WhatsApp, or we can even schedule over a Zoom, or to have a short discussion, because honestly, this topic can go very deep. And that's all for today. If there are any specific topics you want me to cover, do leave them down in the comments down below. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to let me know. See you guys in the next video.